The next morning, the boy woke up with a warm blanket still around him. His stomach was full for the first time in days. The smell of bread still lingered in the air. The night before had felt like a dream, but it wasn't. Someone had stopped. Someone had seen him. Someone had cared. He looked around. The man was gone, not a trace. He asked the chaiwala nearby, "Uncle, did you see that old man who gave me food last night?" The man scratched his beard and said, "No, beta. I saw someone give you something but I didn't see his face. It was dark, and he left fast." The boy sat back down on the pavement. His heart was heavy, but not with sadness this time. He felt something new. Hope that man didn't ask his name, didn't ask where he was from, didn't want anything in return, but he gave him everything he had, food, warmth, and a reason to keep going. The boy looked up at the morning sky and whispered, "Whoever you are, wherever you are, I promise I won't waste your kindness. One day, I will come back. Not like this. I will come back big. I will find you." That promise became his power. He started waking up early. Before the traffic came, before the sun could heat the street, he picked up garbage near the market. In return, shopkeepers gave him leftover rotis. He saved every single rupee. One day, he saw a boy his age selling pens at the traffic signal. He ran to him. "Bhaiya, where did you get these?" The boy said, "Wholesale market. I buy 50 pens for 100 rupees. I sell each for 10. The boy did the math in his head. He smiled, a new seed of hope. For 3 weeks, he saved exactly 100. Then he went to the same market and bought his first bundle of pens. He stood at the red light barefoot, nervous, sweating. Car after car ignored him. One man rolled down the window, took a pen, and said, "Go study instead of begging like this." The boy wanted to shout, "I'm not begging," but he stayed quiet. He held his tears. He remembered the man who once saw his pain, not his dirt. He kept selling, day after day. Some days he sold 5 pens, some days none, but he never gave up. Every night, he cleaned the pens, recounted them, counted coins like they were treasure. He slept with the pouch next to his heart. Then one evening, while he was wiping dust from his pens, a white car stopped. A woman in a green sari looked at him. "How much?" she asked. 10 rupees each. "Madam," he replied. She picked one, then 2 more, then smiled and said, "I'll take all." "All?" he asked, eyes wide. She nodded. "Yes, how much?" He quickly said, 50 pens. "Kiantas rupees." She opened her purse, pulled out a 1,000 note, and placed it gently in his hand. "Keep the change," she said. His hand shook. "Why, madam?" She smiled. "Because you reminded me of someone I once knew, boy who never gave up." She gave him a card before driving away. He looked at the card. It had her name. And something more. She was the founder of a local youth foundation. The boy had never held such a card before, never talked to someone like her. His hands were trembling, but inside, something was dancing. He ran to his corner and looked at the sky again. "I'm getting closer. I'm coming back," he whispered. That night he didn't sleep. He didn't want to. He wanted to dream while awake. For the first time, the future didn't scare him. The next day, he used some of the money to buy better pens. He also bought a new shirt, a simple white one, and cleaned himself in a public tap. He walked into the foundation office, nervous, scared. The receptionist said, "Do you have an appointment?" He showed the card. She smiled. "Oh, you're the boy with the pens. She told us to expect you." He was taken into a small room where the same woman waited. She offered him water and said gently, "You don't belong on the streets. You belong somewhere better. What do you want to do with your life?" The boy didn't think. He already knew. "I want to learn. I want to grow, and one day I want to help someone the way a stranger once helped me." She nodded, eyes moist. "Then let's begin." He stared at the newspaper. His hands trembled as he looked at the small, blurry photo. The face was tired, eyes closed, wires on his chest. But something deep inside him said this is the man who gave him food that night, the man who didn't ask his name, the one who left quietly, the one he had promised to return to. His heart started beating faster. He looked at the headline. Unidentified man found unconscious, admitted to City General Hospital. There was no name, no family mentioned, just a short note that he had collapsed near a railway station. A few people helped take him to the hospital. The boy clutched the paper tight and ran. He didn't care about the traffic, or the heat, or the books in his bag. He just ran. When he reached the hospital gate, his legs slowed down. His breath was heavy, but he didn't stop. Inside, the air smelled of medicines and sadness. People sat with worried faces. Some cried, some prayed. He went to the reception desk and placed the newspaper on the counter. "Please, I need to find this man," he said. The nurse looked at him, confused. "Who is he to you?" she asked. He paused. "I don't know his name, but he once saved me." She looked at the picture again. "He's in room 14, but no visitors are allowed. He's still unconscious." "Please," the boy said. "I won't touch anything. Just let me see if it's really him." She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. Room 14 was quiet. The lights were soft. Machines beeped slowly. And there he was, the same old man. Thinner now, pale, but still the same. The boy stood there frozen. He wanted to say something, but his throat felt locked out, so he just sat near the bed and whispered, "Sir, I found you." The old man didn't open his eyes, but the boy still spoke. You probably don't remember me. It was a cold night. I had nothing. You gave me food and a blanket and hope. I promised myself one day I'd return, and I'd find you, and I'd say thank you. He stayed for hours. He told the man everything about selling pens, meeting the woman from the foundation, getting into school, and the dream he was now chasing. Tears rolled down his face. I thought I lost you, he whispered, but now that I've found you, I won't leave you. Just then, a doctor entered. Who are you? He asked gently. The boy wiped his face. I don't know. Just someone who was saved by him. The doctor nodded. He's been in and out of sleep. We found no ID, no contacts. We don't even know his name. The boy looked down, then said, until you find someone, can I be the one to sit with him, at least sometimes? The doctor looked at his torn slippers and the neat school uniform, then smiled softly. You can come after school, but only for a little while. That became his new routine. Every day, after class, he would come to room 14. He would bring fruits when he could. Sit with the man, talk, sometimes just sit in silence. Weeks passed. Then one day, as the boy was drawing a small card to place beside the bed, he heard a soft voice. Who are you? He froze. He turned to the bed and saw the man's eyes. Open. The boy jumped to his feet. Sir, you're awake. The man blinked. His voice was weak. Where am I? You're in the hospital. You fainted. But you're safe now. The man looked confused. Do I know you? The boy's eyes filled with tears again. No, but I know you. You once gave me food and a blanket when I had nothing. That night, you saved me. The old man stared at him for a long time, then whispered, I remember, the boy with no shoes. The boy smiled. That boy is me. And I'm here now, like I promised. The man turned his head slowly. Why? Why would you come back? Because you were the first person who saw me like a human, not like a beggar. You gave me hope. I'm not going anywhere. The old man tried to sit up. He winced in pain. Easy, the boy said, rushing to support him. You don't need to worry anymore. I'll help now. The man's lips moved, but I have nothing. The boy gently held his hand. Neither did I, but now, I have something. A second chance. And I want to give you one too. Suspenseful ending. Just then, the door opened. The woman from the foundation stepped in. She looked at the boy then, at the man, and her face went pale. You, she whispered. She stared at the old man, as if she knew him. The boy looked at both of them, confused. You know him? He asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she slowly walked toward the bed. Tears welled up in her eyes. She whispered, he used to be my father's best friend, but we lost him years ago. The room went quiet. The boy looked at the woman, then at the old man. His heart was racing. The woman stepped closer, her voice shaking. Do you remember me? I'm Anaya. My father was Raghov. You used to visit our home every weekend. The old man blinked slowly. His lips trembled. Raghov, yes. I remember the music, the tea in the garden. She nodded quickly, eyes full of tears. Yes. You and my father would play chess and talk for hours. The boy stood still, confused, but amazed. The man who once helped him on the street was once part of someone's family. He wasn't always lost. The old man looked at her. But where is he now? She paused. He passed away 5 years ago. A silence fell. I tried looking for you, she said softly. We thought something bad had happened. One day, you just disappeared. He closed his eyes. A long breath escaped his lips. I lost everything. My wife died. I made bad choices. I couldn't face anyone, so I left. Anaya gently placed her hand on his shoulder. You didn't have to disappear. We would have helped. Tears rolled down his cheeks. I thought I had become a burden. I thought it was better if I vanished. The boy stepped forward. But you didn't vanish, sir. You saved me. You were someone's angel. Even when you were broken. The old man looked at him, surprised. Why did you come back for me? The boy smiled. Because when you fed me that night, I felt like a person again. You saw me. That gave me strength. I promised I'd find you. And I did. Anaya looked at both of them and whispered, maybe this is why we're all here. For each other. The boy took out a small envelope. I don't have much, but I saved this from my small jobs. He placed it gently beside the bed. It's for your medicine. I can't let you fall again. The man shook his head slowly. You don't owe me anything. The boy smiled, wiping a tear. Maybe not, but I want to, because I know what it's like to be alone. And you made me feel seen. Suddenly, the nurse knocked and entered. There's someone outside asking for the boy. The boy stepped out and found his school principal waiting. She looked stern. I was told you've been coming here every day after school. Is that true? He nodded nervously. She stared for a moment, then softened. You're supposed to be preparing for the city scholarship exam. It's next week. The boy looked down. I know, but this was more important. She was silent for a moment. Come to my office tomorrow morning. We'll talk. He returned to the room, worried. What happened? Naya asked. He explained, unsure of what the principal would do. Anaya looked thoughtful. I may be able to help with that. The old man looked at both of them. Why? Why are you all doing this? The boy sat beside him. Because maybe this time, it's your turn to be taken care of. The man smiled faintly. Then, the lights flickered. The machines beeped faster. The nurse rushed in. His oxygen level is dropping. Anaya and the boy were pushed out as doctors rushed inside. The boy pressed his ear to the door. He could hear fast steps, urgent voices. Anaya held his hand tight. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, a doctor stepped out. He's stable now, but he needs surgery, and it's not cheap. The boy felt his chest tighten. Anaya whispered, I'll talk to some people, but we don't have much time. Suspenseful ending. That night, the boy sat alone on the hospital bench. He looked up at the sky and made a quiet promise. I won't let you die, sir. Not without knowing how much you mattered. He looked down at the last 100 rupees in his pocket. Then he stood up. Tomorrow, he would knock on every door in the city if he had to. He just didn't. No one of those doors would open something bigger than he ever imagined. The next morning, the boy didn't go to school. He left early, wearing his old shoes with a hole in one toe. In one hand, he carried a torn bag. Inside was a handmade sign. Please help save a good man's life. He once helped me. He had no money, no big plan, just faith. He started on the first street near the hospital. He knocked on shop doors, stood near bus stops, and even approached strangers at traffic lights. Excuse me, sir. I'm not asking for myself. There's an old man in the hospital who saved me once when I was homeless. He needs surgery. I just want to help him live. Some people ignored him. Some walked away. A few gave him 10 rupees. One gave him food. He didn't stop by noon. He had collected just over 300 rupees. It was not enough. He moved to a richer area where the buildings were taller, the cars cleaner, and the people wore suits. He stood outside a cafe with glass walls. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. A man in a coat shouted, You can't beg here, boy. Go away. The boy held up his sign. Sir, I'm not begging for myself. I'm trying to save someone who once gave me food when I was starving. A woman in a red dress glanced at him from her table, then turned away. The waiter pushed him out. The boy's eyes burned, but he didn't cry. He walked to the next building. He knocked and knocked again. In the evening, when his legs ached and throat dried, he sat on the pavement and looked at his small collection. Under 1,100 rupees, he whispered. It's still not enough. That's when someone tapped his shoulder. It was a delivery boy from a local restaurant. He looked around the same age. I saw you asking all day, the boy said. Here. He handed him 200 rupees. I don't have more, but you reminded me of my brother. He died without help. The boy took the money slowly. Thank you. You don't know what this means. That moment gave him strength again. He stood up just then. His phone buzzed. It was a message from Anaya. Call me. It's urgent. He ran to the nearest shop that let him use a phone. Her voice was sharp and fast. Where are you? The hospital needs the full amount by tomorrow morning. They won't hold the surgery slot any longer. His throat tightened. How much more do we need? Still over 40,000, she said softly. His hands went cold. I'll try, he whispered. Just hold them, please. He hung up and stood in the dark street, headlights rushing past him. He looked up at the sky. I promised him he wouldn't die. I won't break that promise. He reached into his bag and took out his final paper. On it, in big bold letters, he wrote, He gave me food when I was starving. Now he's dying. Please help me save his life. He walked to the biggest square. In the city, it was crowded, noisy, full of flashing lights. He climbed onto a stone platform and held the paper up with both hands. People walked past him. Some stopped, some stared, but one man took a picture. Then another person asked, Is this real? The boy nodded. Yes. He's in room 213, hospital near City Circle, you can check. He once fed me bread when I had nothing. He saved my life. The person took a video. Within an hour, a crowd had gathered. A reporter arrived. He asked, Why are you doing this? The boy said, Because he didn't walk away when I was invisible. Now I refuse to walk away when he's dying. The reporter uploaded the video that same night with the caption, Street boy tries to save the stranger who once saved him. Will you help? By midnight, the video had gone viral. People started sharing, commenting, donating. One man sent 5,000. A woman from Delhi sent 15,000. a.m. Anaya called, crying. They just called from the hospital. She said, We have enough. Maybe even more. The boy sat down on the pavement, exhausted. He whispered, Thank you, world. Suspenseful ending. But the next morning, just before the surgery, the doctor walked out of the room with a tense face. He said, There's a problem. He doesn't want the surgery anymore. He says, he doesn't want to live. The boy rushed in, heart racing. The old man looked at him with weak eyes and said, You did too much for me. I don't deserve this. Save the money. Help someone else. The boy stood still, shocked, silent. What he said next would decide if the man lived or gave up. The boy stood by the hospital bed, breathing fast. The old man lay there with tubes in his arms, his eyes dull, his body weak. But his voice, though soft, was firm. I'm tired, son. I've lived long enough. I've seen too much. There's no one left for me. No family, no home. Let me go. The boy shook his head, eyes wide with pain. No, you don't get to say that. You didn't give up on me when I had nothing. Why should I give up on you now? The old man looked away. I'm just a burden. You raised money, begged strangers, That money can help someone young, not me. The boy sat on the edge of the bed. You think this is just about money? No, it's about what you taught me. You saved me when I was invisible to the world. You gave me bread without knowing my name. That one act changed my life. You reminded me I was human. Tears filled the old man's eyes, but he stayed quiet. The boy took his hand gently. I walked for days, faced insults, begged on streets not to be a hero, but because I couldn't let the man who saved me die alone. That would be wrong. Please, live not for me, but for yourself. There was a long silence. Then a tear rolled down the old man's cheek. He whispered, "Okay, I'll try." The boy smiled through tears. That's all I wanted to hear. The nurse came in with the doctor. Is he ready? She asked. The old man nodded slowly. Yes, let's do this. The surgery began at noon. The boy sat outside the operating room, staring at the clock. Minutes felt like hours. Every beep, every footstep made his heart race. Anaya sat beside him. You know, she said softly, you didn't just save his life. You reminded everyone what kindness looks like. He gave a small smile. I just did what he once did for me. After 3 long hours, the doctor came out. The boy stood up quickly. The doctor removed his mask and said, he made it. The surgery went well. He'll need rest, but he'll live. The boy sat down again, finally breathing. Thank you so much. The next few days were quiet. The old man was moved to a recovery room. The boy visited every day, bringing soup, talking to him, and making him laugh with old street stories. One afternoon, the old man said, you know, when I first saw you, I thought you wouldn't last a week on the street, but you proved me wrong. The boy chuckled. You gave me my first real meal. That memory kept me alive. The old man smiled. I don't remember many things anymore, but I remember your eyes. Lost, scared, hungry, and now, they shine. Then came a moment the boy never expected. A nurse walked in with a phone. Someone's been trying to contact you. They say they saw the viral video. She handed it to the boy. Hello, he said. A voice replied. Are you the boy from the street, the one who raised money for a stranger? Yes, sir, the boy answered. Confused, I work with a foundation. The voice said. We saw your video. We'd like to offer you a scholarship to study. You've got courage and heart, things money can't buy. The boy's heart skipped a beat. I don't know what to say. Say yes. The man on the phone laughed. The boy looked at the old man. The old man grinned. Say yes, kid. You earned it. Suspenseful ending. That night, as the boy walked home, he passed the very same street where he once begged for food. He stood there quietly, remembering the cold nights, the empty stomach, and the stranger who had once handed him a piece of bread. But something caught his eye. A group of children sitting on the corner, thin, barefoot, holding plastic bottles. He walked toward them slowly. One of the kids looked up. Got anything to eat? The boy reached into his bag and handed over the sandwich he was saving for dinner. Then he crouched beside them and asked, What's your name? Just like it had started with him, it was now beginning again with someone else. The boy, a young man, kept coming back to that same corner. Every evening, after hospital visits and before going home, he sat with the children on the street. He brought food, listened to their stories, and even taught them simple words from books he borrowed from a nearby library. But one child stood out. His name was Zion. He was 7 years old, with sharp eyes, messy hair, and a quiet anger in his voice. I don't need help, Zion would say. I'm not weak. The young man smiled gently. Neither was I, but even the strongest need someone. Sometimes, Zion would frown and turn away, but he always came back the next day. Zion began to open up. He talked about how his father left, how his mother died, how he ran from relatives who used him to beg. He slept under a broken cart and stole food when he had to. The young man saw his past in Zion, every fear, every fight, every cold night. One evening, he brought an extra blanket and placed it over Zion. The boy pushed it away at first, but then pulled it over himself silently. Another night, he said, if you really want to help, teach me to read. So he did. Under a broken streetlight, they sat with old papers and crayons. This is Abyssesby. Zion caught on fast. His mind was sharp, even if his hands were rough. Soon, other kids joined. The young man didn't plan it, but he had started a street classroom, and slowly, the corner changed from hopeless to hopeful, but not everyone liked it. One day, 2 men came. They wore dark jackets and followed Zion when he left the group. The young man noticed from a distance something didn't feel right. He followed them down the narrow alley. He heard Zion shouting, Let go. I won't go back. The man pulled his arm harder. You're ours. You earned for us. The young man ran forward and shouted, Let him go. One of the men turned. Who are you? Stay out of this. The young man didn't back down. Call the police, if you like. I have videos of you on this street. I've been filming for weeks. If you touch him again, you'll answer to the law. The men looked at each other and slowly let Zion go. You'll regret this, one of them hissed before walking away. Zion was shaking. They used to make me steal. If I didn't, they hit me. I thought they'd find me again. The young man placed a hand on his shoulder. They won't hurt you now, not while I'm here. Zion broke into tears. I thought I was alone. You're not. The young man said. Not anymore. The next day he spoke to a local shelter with the money he had left and the help of a few kind people. He found a small home where 5 street kids could live safely, including Zion. Beds, books, food, safety. It was a beginning. The old man at the hospital heard about it. So, he said with a smile, "You're building something." The young man nodded. "Because of what you built in me." The old man laughed weakly. "Funny, I gave you bread, and you gave the world hope." The young man looked at him. "There's still more to do." Suspenseful ending. One day, Zion came running into the shelter holding a folded paper. "What's this?" the young man asked. Zion handed it over shyly. "It's mounted online." He opened the paper. It was an article. Headline: "From Street Boy to Savior Young Man Changes Lives in the City." He kept reading, and then paused. There in bold letters was a name he hadn't seen in years. A name from before the streets, his real name. Somehow, someone had found out who he was, his past, his family. Everything he had buried deep inside was now coming back. He stared at the last line of the article, heart pounding. "If anyone has information about his family, please contact us. His story isn't just inspiring, it may also be unfinished." He looked up, stunned. The article changed everything. He had tried to leave that part of his life behind the years before the streets, before he lost his parents, before he stopped believing in family. But now, someone had found out. His real name, his real hometown. He hadn't spoken that name in years. It felt strange on his tongue, like it belonged to someone else. He sat in silence that night, staring at the paper Zion had found. The boys in the shelter laughed and played around him, but inside his chest was a storm. What if they came looking for him? What if the people who left him behind wanted him now, only because of who he had become? He didn't want to go back, but something deeper inside whispered, maybe. You never finished that story. 2 days later, the old man in the hospital got worse. The doctors said he didn't have long. His breath was shallow, his voice weak. But when the young man walked in, he smiled like he always did. "You're not a boy anymore," the old man whispered. "You've become something I could never be." The young man held his hand. "You were everything I needed when I had nothing." The old man looked into his eyes. "Promise me, when I go, you won't stop. Not this work, not this fight." Tears gathered in the young man's eyes. "I won't stop, and the old man said slowly, "You'll go find where you truly belong." The young man froze. "What do you mean?" "I've known for a while. I heard about the article. I knew someone would recognize you one day. You deserve to know who you were so you can fully become who you are." The young man swallowed hard. "I don't know if I want to go back." The old man smiled gently. "Then don't go back. Just move forward, face it, then leave it behind forever." That night, the old man slipped away peacefully. The young man cried silently, sitting by his bed long after the machines went quiet. He held the old man's hand one last time and whispered, "You saved me. I'll save others. I'll never forget you." The next week was heavy. The shelter was quiet. The boys were confused. "Is he gone?" Zion asked softly. The young man nodded. "Yes, but he's still here. In all of this," he pointed to the books, the blankets, the smiles. But his heart was elsewhere. He printed the article again. At the bottom was a phone number. "A journalist," he called. His hands were shaking. A woman answered. "Hello." He paused. "I'm the boy in your article." There was a long silence. Then she spoke again, gently. "We've been waiting to hear from you." She gave him a name, a location. A woman's voice he hadn't heard in over 15 years. His aunt, the woman who thought he had died. He traveled 3 hours the next day. It was quiet in the car. Zion sat beside him, holding his hand the whole way. When they arrived, she stood at the door. Gray hair, tired eyes. But when she saw him, she gasped. "Is it really you?" He nodded slowly. "Yes." She broke into tears. "We searched everywhere. We thought you were gone forever." They sat. They talked. Stories came back. Memories. Some painful, some warm. "I was too young to understand," he said. "But I forgive everything now." She nodded, crying. "All that matters is that you came back." Before leaving, he walked through the small town. He didn't feel like he belonged there anymore, but he wasn't running from it either. He had faced it, on the way back. Zion looked at him. "That was your home." The young man smiled. "No, that was my past. My home is wherever I can help someone." 1 month later, he returned to the street where he once begged for food. This time he didn't walk. He arrived in a Rolls Royce. Cameras flashed. People gathered. News reporters came. But he wasn't there to show off. He walked to that same streetlight, where the old man once handed him a piece of bread. He lit a candle, then turned to the crowd. "This is where I was saved," he said. "Not with money, not with power, but with kindness. One small act gave me a new life. And now, I want to do the same." He opened a large envelope. "Starting today, this shelter will have full funding for food, education, safety. No child here will sleep on the streets again." People clapped, but he turned away quietly. That night, he went to the hospital again. This time, to visit another child, sick, scared, and alone. He sat beside him, held his hand, and said gently, "You don't know me now, but years ago, I was just like you, and someone stayed by my side." The boy looked at him through tired eyes. "I'll be here every day," the young man whispered, "until you can stand again." He looked out the window. The city lights shimmered. His story had come full circle, but in his heart, he knew this was only the beginning.